Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Malik Robinson here with me today. How you doing, Malik?
Doing good, doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I'm very excited to have you here today to share your story. I want to say hello to everybody who might be tuning in, whether it be on Roku TV, Apple TV, Android TV, Facebook, or YouTube. Hey, we are moving into a new era, everybody, and there are some things that we have to begin to do as a community in order to keep this ship sailing. So make sure that you hit the like button on this video. Make sure that you share the video. Make sure that you subscribe to our pages. Make sure that you drop a comment. All these things make our video elevate as if it's a big deal, which it is. We have a couple comments. We have a few comments in the building. Let's put them up on the screen. Chastity Curry says hello. Yolanda Roddy says hello. Linda Stevens Goodwin says hello. And Kamisha Robinson says hello from Cincinnati. Much love to everybody. You want to say hi to anybody out there, Malik?
Definitely want to say hi to my mom, Kamisha Robinson. Thank you.
Wow, mom's in the building for you, huh?
Yeah, mom's in the building, showing love.
Hey, you know what's funny about that, Malik, man? My mom is in the building too, man.
Hey.
Thanks to all the families, mothers, parents, sisters. My sister's in the building too. You know, my auntie's in the building too. Thank you to all of our families who come and join in on these sorts of grassroots movements, because they really become the next big thing when we wrap around them. Without further ado, Malik, where you from?
So actually, I was born in Washington, D.C.
Wow, okay.
And then around 2 years old, me and my family moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, and that's kind of where I grew up the rest of my
life. Okay, all right. Hold on. You were born in DC, as people call Chocolate City, better known as the capital of the United States. It's a big deal to be born in DC, right? But then you moved to Cincinnati. What was it like for you growing up in Cincinnati? Let's say around 5 years old. What was it like?
So actually, at 5, I'm the oldest of 5.
Wow. Okay.
We're all a year apart. So right around 5 years old, that's when all of our siblings was in the world. Growing up, it was growing up around there. It was actually a great, interesting experience, because my family became very well known pretty much wherever we went, whether it was school, church. They called us like the basketball team. The football. There was a bunch of names that we went by because there were so many of us wherever we went.
Right.
And my parents had us very involved in a lot of different things throughout the church, through school events, through community events. We spent some Christmases and some holidays feeding the homeless, or sometimes instead of doing presents like usual, they would take us out on experiences and go to like Disney World and Orlando Studios to give us more of an experience. And also, my parents were 19 and 20 when they had me. And then, like I said, they were all a year apart. So literally it was 19, 20, 21, etc., etc. So I remember growing up and seeing my parents, my mom and my dad seeing my dad working, and then having to go with my mom to go to her classes and go to school and everything. And the same with my parents. And I was able to also see, before I graduated high school, see both of them walk the aisle and get their degrees. My mom actually just got her master's.
Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell y'all right now, blow up the chat with the heart emoji, with the fire emoji, with the hands doing like this, Blow up the chat tonight, because this is already, and I'm going to try to calm myself down. I get so passionate when I listen to the stories of people. This is an American story. 19 and 20 years old, your parents were, with 5 children. Let's slow this down. Think about that, everybody. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can feel the gravity. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can feel the gravity of being 19 and 20 years old with 5 children. Imagine the journey that they went on. Every single day was a journey. You guys remember Home Alone, the first one? where they were on their way to take this big trip. Everybody's supposed to be catching a plane. People running up the stairs, people running down the stairs, back through the house, front through the house. That was his family every single day.
I do want to say that never happened. That never happened. My mom and dad had this lockdown system where it was
Wow.
basically
Talk about it. Okay.
whenever we before we left the place, before we came to a place, wherever we was, they literally had a signal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like wherever we went. So that
Count
could never
off.
count them off. That's literally what she would say before we leave somewhere, and that's all we would do.
Wow. So you guys never had busy mornings where everybody was running around the house getting ready for the day.
Nah, my parents definitely did not have us running around the house. I would definitely say that. And I would agree with that because like I remember growing up and wherever we went a couple places, there were so many people who would ask my parents like, how are we so well behaved? Like, or be impressed that we were that well behaved and that we had to count off and that we had all these different things. I think that was honestly seeing that grow up and seeing my parents go to the schools and go seeing them in classes, putting in the work and then coming from work and working on their homework and then my dad staying up to go to work and everything. It motivated me on a couple of different levels, but going back to when I was talking about when so many people would be so impressed with my mom and my dad on how they raised us and how well behaved we were. I think that's where I saw the power of labels and stereotypes. And I think
Talk about
that
it.
was the biggest thing, the biggest thing with me growing up. Because so many people already had it in their mindset that my parents were going to struggle, that my parents were, going to not do well, that they weren't going to that they were going to have a hard time because they had so many kids at a young age and didn't have a career. But my thing is, or didn't have their career set in stone before they had all of us. But I'm proud to say that my parents were people, I was blessed to have both of my parents in my household. That was one thing that helped me become what I am today. And seeing them work as hard as they did to where they are now, even before I graduated high school and all that, they had their degrees. And my mom was in her field, my dad was working in their field. They kept us, and the thing that they emphasized throughout all of our lives was unity. That no matter what the world threw at you, no matter what the world say, you remember who you are because you carry the Robinson name. So for me, I took my name, and I remember my parents. Whenever I felt bad about something, whenever I felt down, they always remembered. My mom would always say something that I say to myself every day. I named you Malik for a reason. My full name is Malik Alexander Robinson. And Malik means master, king, Arabic prophet. Alexander was a great conqueror, Alexander the Great. So those two right there should already tell me if I'm a master, if I'm a king, there's nothing that I can't do. There's nothing that I can't set out to do. And that's exactly what I saw my parents do. When everybody go to school and go out after their degrees, despite everything that they went through. So it inspired me. But when I went out to school coming up, I was actually labeled the smart kid coming up. Believe it or not, like I was always. I just school really came easily for me. So I guess everybody thought I was going to be like this great doctor, go get my PhD, et cetera, et cetera. And I was just like, that just wasn't really me. I mean, I know I can kind of, I will, mom, I will. I know I can kind of, be smart and get it together, but that wasn't really me. What really fascinated me and what really went going was inspiring people like you do, and also art. I had a great passion for art, and I think I wouldn't say I wasn't fully supported with my visions and dreams for art. I just felt maybe it was something that I internalized looking back, but it felt like I wasn't really understood with my passion with art. And maybe that was because I didn't know the direction that I wanted to go.
Mhm.
Because
And that's totally fair. You're you're growing up just like everybody else is growing up, and you are like a compass. You have great instruction. You understand that you have to navigate life. You understand that moving forward is important, and you have this decision of what am I going to turn into? What's going to be my transformation? And that's not an easy decision to make. You know, it sounds like you were very intelligent. You're still intelligent today. Um, what are your brothers and sisters doing? Are they pursuing great endeavors as well?
Yes, actually, both of my sisters are graduating high school at the end of this month, and they're being sent off to college. My older brother, he's working to get into the veterinarian field, working to get into that. And then I have another brother that loves fashion. He's doing a couple different hustles and into the entrepreneurship side of things.
Mhm.
So all of us, and that was something that, like I said, like all of us kind of my parents installed us and very early when we was growing up, telling us that we can do all things through Christ, and that we was the and my favorite scripture, which is also my mom's, for I know the plans that I have for you, not plans to harm you, but to give you an expected end. So that was something that told us that no matter what, as long as we stay true to God and stay true to what we're supposed to do and our goal, that 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 no, there was nothing, there should be no room for doubt. There's nothing that can stop you once you get to that when you have that focus in that plan. So with me,
People,
oh, go ahead.
people from a bird's eye view or a third party perspective, they look at your family unit and say, how did they do it? I think that's a fair question.
Yeah,
People have multiple children throughout the U.S. and it's difficult to raise children, to continue to elevate your own life. And so what you all done, while it's an excellent outcome, is sort of a case study for everybody else. And I want to make sure that we put it on that type of platform. What you and your family has done was God's plan, and it's great. It's American greatness. What you all have been able to accomplish. You growing up, your brothers and sisters growing up, seeing your parents pursuing their degree, seeing your parents not stop. Your parents, I'm not hearing the part of your story where you say, my parents said that their life stopped because I was born. I'm not hearing the part where you're saying that your parents say, I can't achieve my dreams because we have 5 children. And so your parents are God's children. Your parents provide a phenomenal example for you, and you and your brothers and sisters seem to have followed suit. And so I feel like this is where your whole family is an example, a behavioral example for thousands of people across America and across the world today. I'm listening to what you said. It wasn't all easy. At some point, y'all were homeless. Didn't you say that?
no, 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 no. I said during the holidays we fed the homeless. No,
Hold
no,
on. Hold on. Say it again. During the holidays,
I said
what?
during the holidays sometimes my parents would take us out to feed the homeless.
Oh, to feed the homeless.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, to feed the homeless.
Even 10 times better. And so you all, you're giving back to the community at the same time that you're growing and going up. So yeah, we got a few comments in the building because this is a powerful story. Kamisha Robinson says, we trusted God. I apologize for mishearing you. You did not say that you were homeless. You said that you all fed the homeless. So now
Yeah.
talk to me about what church was like for you all. What was happening in the 4 walls of that church? How did it influence y'all as a unit?
Honestly, my aunt said it best, God in the village. Like, honestly, when it came to church, I saw the value of community. Like, there wasn't, honestly, it got to the point where there wasn't one family in that church that didn't know the Robinsons. Like,
Wow,
honestly,
okay.
because my mom had us involved in so many of the organizations and departments there, that we saw the value of not just community service, serving others, exercising our faith, but also the value of having a community, the value
Sure.
of having a community, being able to interact with different people. And our leader, Bishop Bobby Hilton, uh, Bishop Bobby Hilton, he wasn't just a person on the pulpit that just talked and then, just kind of left. And no, he interacted with all of the youth. He believed that we were the future. So not only did I have my parents empowering me, not only did I have people within the church or the organizations or different departments, I had the leader of the church, not only talk to me, but propel me to do what I wanted to do. So I had all of this support, all of this support, all of this, empowerment, all of this, but I had no idea what to do. And as the oldest of five, I've always my not intentionally, I've always felt this pressure to be great because I was the trailblazer for not just my brothers, not just for my brothers and sisters, but I have god sisters. I have younger cousins. I have all and people within the church, younger individuals in the church, all my friends that were younger than me, that watched me grow, that I grew up with, that were watching me as I was growing up. And some of them have followed my movements. So when it was time for me to choose what college I went to, it was very hard because I didn't want, although I was put in this great place where my parents and the community and everybody uplifted me and told me I was going to be this great thing. It was something that I wasn't, that what they thought my calling wasn't what I thought it was. So I
Mhm.
had to have a hard sit down with myself. And that's why I chose to go to school in Michigan and that was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make because I didn't have family. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know a single person when I came up to Michigan for school. I literally wanted to take a chance on myself and really prove to myself that there's no need to doubt myself. There's no need to if I really I guess if you want to put it in the most summarized terms, I really wanted to put the test what everybody was telling me growing up that if I'm really focused on what I want to do and I trust in God, that there should be nothing in my way that stops that. And
I
my goal
agree.
and
Yeah.
my goal when I went to school was to test that theory. I wanted to become an artist and prove to people that I can be an artist and go to
Mhm.
school and become successful in both fields. Because with art, everybody feels like you have to drop out of school. Everybody feels like school is in the way. But for me, I knew that I could excel in school. My own counselor in high school told me to aim low. My first counselor told me I'll be lucky to get into a good college and that I need to aim low because I'm not. They wasn't sure about how many schools
Hold
could
on,
be.
hold on, hold on, hold on. Earlier, I misheard you. So I want to make sure I'm not mishearing you again. You said your counselor. What did your counselor say to you?
So I'll give the rundown of that story real quick. I had the opportunity my freshman year to join this program called AGS, and it was a program that was just that they just developed. It was like 2 years old when I got into it, and it prepared you for college. But it was a rough transition. I'm not gonna lie, and I got straight C's, and it was a 2.7. And he was like, "Look, man, most people that get into college, they have this, but the schools that you're talking about that you're aiming for, and this is also what my other counselor said. It was like the schools that you're aiming for, that you're not going to get there because your GPA is not up there." I said, "Well, what would it need to be?" He said, "It needs to be above a 3. And right now you have like a 2.7, and I
Mhm.
highly doubt, and I'm not sure it's going to be really hard for you to get there to get it up to a 3 because it's your fresh you already finished your freshman year and
Mhm.
how the GPA
Okay.
and calculus works." And I said, "I can probably get it up there by the time I by my junior
Mhm.
year."
Mhm.
And he said, "Well, you got to apply by your junior year. That gives you 2 years to raise your GPA, and that's going to be really difficult. So if I was you, I would just aim to get in some low colleges and get it, and then try to work your way up." And I remember feeling so defeated after that. But then I,
Hold on. There is a point in a lot of people's lives where you only want to hear about the possibilities and you only want to hear about how you can make things happen
Mhm.
because you have so much energy, you have so much optimism, you got so much belief in yourself. I don't want to hear about the roadblocks. I want to hear about how I can get over the roadblocks. I want you to talk to me like my mother was talking to me back home when she said I could do whatever it is that I set out to do. I want you to talk to me like the pastor talked to me when he pulled me off on the side of the pulpit and told me that God was with me in my endeavors. And so it's difficult for us sometimes to accept a roadblock. It's like, no, there's got to be another way that I can flip this around like Tetris. There's got to be a way for me to get above and through this because roadblocks just aren't a part of my forecast for my future. And we know that God has a plan for our life, and we know that everything that happens is meant to build character and to teach us lessons. But there's something else that I'm hearing in your story that I want to raise awareness about here on America's Next Motivator. Those of us that we consider to be smart or intelligent people, the kids that everybody said, oh, you know what, in the future I'm going to see you doing big things. In
Yeah,
the future you're going to be madly successful. I'm going to see you on TV. I'm going to see your name in lights. The intelligent kid is thinking, well, how? How am I going to get to the expectation, the wonderful, the feel good expectation that these people are providing for me? As a matter of fact, I care so much about these people that now I want to make it happen. I want to make sure that I get my name in lights. I want to make sure that I get to this place where people see on me. And so, what we call intelligent people, a lot of the times they reverse engineer themselves. They say, what exactly am I made of? What is it that people are seeing in me? How am I going to articulate what's inside of me so that I could get the outcome that all these other people see? And
And
so
that's
you go out
definitely
and
something.
go ahead.
Oh, and that's what I was getting into. I took the long route, but that's
Yeah,
something
go
that
ahead.
I was getting into. That's something that I definitely struggle with the expectations, because for me it was a very weird scale. I had my friends and family on one side telling me I was great, shoot for the stars. But then in school and my workforce, they was like, I don't know, so it was battling that. And then it was kind of figuring out, like you said, okay, all these people, all these voices is telling me all these different things, but who am I? And what is he really setting out for me to do?
Mhm.
So that's why I took that leap. And I think that
Yeah,
was the scariest thing I ever had to do. Leave everything I ever known to try to figure out who I was, to figure out what I wanted to do, to try to reach this greatness that I see in myself, that everybody else sees, and the people who don't see. And
that's
what does
right.
that mean for me?
That's right. When you have this energy on you, and when you have expectations set for you, and when you have people around you, your tribe, your brothers and sisters, your family, your community members telling you there is greatness in your future, guess what that means? It means that there's greatness in your future, and it is upon you to jump out there and grab it. My mother told me one day, she said, you know what, Cedric? Success is right in front of your face. She's in the building tonight. All you need to do is reach out, aka jump out and grab it. You gotta jump. You gotta jump. People are not placing their ideas on you for no reason. Sometimes you can't see yourself. Most of the time, we can't see ourselves. But the people who love us, they see you, and they can see where you're going sometimes without you seeing where you're going, because you don't
Right.
walk around with the third party perspective. We call that God. Go ahead.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say. Because I think the expectations, not only that my family set on me, not only the people who doubted me, it was the ones that I had for myself, because
Mhm,
I felt all that expectation.
mhm,
I feel the aura that, and I know the impact that I can have. So for
mhm.
me, my greatest roadblock that I'm still working on today has been perfection in my performances, because all my life I was expected to be this great person and I didn't want to let them down, but I also didn't want to be something that I didn't want to be. So
That's
for
right.
me, it took a lot of time with it took a lot of internal work within myself to separate myself from, not just separate myself from my family and everybody else, but from the world, from
There you go.
from cultural norms and societal expectations of what success actually will look like and the path that I should be taking. Because I'm trying to be an artist, majoring in social work and public administration. What sense does that make whatsoever?
Makes a lot of sense. It makes a
But to
lot of
most people,
sense.
but when you first hear that, you know what I'm saying? Like when that's first presented, you don't, a lot of people, well, when I was presenting this idea, a lot of people always tried to drive me away. Well, you have greatness. You should either focus on one or the other, trying to dictate that definition for success for me. But what it took for me to realize is that I create my own path. Not
That's right.
everyone, not everyone has the vision to see what you envision. So for me, what I had to do was sit down and realize, okay, I have all these talents, and all these in this intelligence that I've been blessed with to make an impact and inspire people. I want to be able to create something to inspire people to create something to inspire other people. How can I
100%.
do that? How can I do that? I want to do that through art, but I'm in school and social work. And I remember having a conversation with my professor because I was going back and forth trying to figure out how in the world can I do it? How can I be an artist, a musician at the same time while going through school to make sure to make to have a degree, make sure I'm still using my intelligence, not just profiting off of something that's just pure talent, moving with an intention. How can I move with intention? Because a movement without an intention, you're just moving. You're not going anywhere. I mean, you are going somewhere, but you don't know where you're going. And I don't want to be a wanderer. I've been great. I've been blessed with way too much support, way too much intelligence, way too much talent to sit here and be a wanderer. So
So
I made the plan with
go
all
ahead. What
my
was your plan? Go ahead.
so my plan was to combine my passion for school with social work and public administration with art. And I combine those two together. And not just to have this art therapy, not like I have my own individual project that I've been working on called The Story of the Struggling Artist. And it goes over the story of my life. And we're talking about, through that story, we're not talking about a come up story. We're defining what success and greatness looks like. Because I believe that there's an art, God created everything. So that's an art. Art is deals with creation. God created everything. There's an art in science. There's an art in reading. There's an art to business. So we in our own unique way that we are all artists. So why does society get to say how our journey should be towards success? Because we are all artists looking for our masterpiece, working to create our masterpiece. That and a masterpiece can have multiple different definitions, whether it's the piece that they're most critically acclaimed for, their best piece of work, or their most famous, whatever it is, in whatever field that you're in, you're working to be out. You're working to create that masterpiece.
So
So
hold on. Our world is changing right now. Malik Robinson, you have decided to do exactly what you should do, which is take the pressure of your own growth, your own transformation, and synthesize it into something that means the most to you. That's a rites of passage. Everybody doesn't carry out those events the way you did, but it sounds like you're doing it exactly the right way. Let me get in a quiet space and figure out exactly how to rise to the occasion. When you decide to infuse art and your love for social work, administration, and the corporate space, to the extent people understand this is serious business, this is valuable, I'm changing the world, I think you become a very prolific man. When you look at education, where is education falling short? It's falling short in the arts. When you look at people who work, whether it be in social work or even in corporate, and you say, what's the missing piece to them getting through to the real customers? It's the grace, it's the art, it's the feng shui, it's the soul that's missing. So your decision to incorporate art, to incorporate soul, to incorporate a message from God is what is going to make social work, public policy, public administration, and the corporate world work. I deeply appreciate your perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, we're headed to a break right now. Don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back with more from the great Malik Robinson. America's Next Motivator, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network and our viewership. And we're back. Malik, how you feeling out there?
I'm feeling good, feeling good. I'm loving the conversation, loving the ideas. I appreciate you just being able to give me this platform to be able to share my share what I'm most passionate about.
You are rocking the house tonight, man. You relating to thousands of people tonight with your story, and everything that you're saying is right on point. Like I said, we need the art. I want to say thank you to your village tonight. You got a lot of people in here showing support, being a part of this episode. And the fact of the matter is, it's a victory for everybody when you send your son out there into the world and he comes back with the victory. And that's exactly what you're doing. So now talk to me about what school has been like for you. How was it molded your mind about your own future?
So for the longest, I've always had a passion for art. So when it came to school, I always felt like I know school is important. I've been told that my whole life. I know school is how you get anywhere. Without an education, knowledge is power. I understand that, but for the longest, I struggled with idea and concept because I felt like it was a blockage. It was a roadblock because I wanted to do art. I wanted to learn photography, DJing, how to record, produce, and edit. But it wasn't until I had conversations with mentors, with some of my professors that saw that possibility for art and school to exchange, where they showed me the value of being able to right now you got to work with what's around you. And I have this little saying that I've been saying to myself for a while. You got to work with what you got to get to a better spot. There's that saying in kindergarten where it's like you get what you get and don't throw a fit. But to me, that sounds like it's a settling mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like you just settle with what you were given. It's like nah. Like if you don't like what you was given, you work that to the best of your ability and flip it into something that works. So
Well, I actually want to co-champion what you're saying tonight and normalize the multi-talent. I agree with you on what you're saying. We have a lot of similarities, by the way. For those of you who don't know, I also spent years of my life in foster care, and I'm very passionate about my form of art as well. And so what I realize is that we have had this idea that there's if life was on a dinner tray, right? That there's like four compartments. You got school, let's say church, family, and what would be the next thing? Maybe a hobby, right? But what I'm co-championing with you tonight is that there is at least one more department that needs to be on that tray, which is an additional passion. And so we have to normalize that you're all of those things, but maybe one more thing. People want to be one more thing. Drop a one in the chat if you want to be one more thing. And so we've got to normalize that. I think gone are the days of us just becoming one thing. And when I say we, I'm talking about so many millions of us. We don't want to do that anymore. We want to be multiple things, and that's okay. It's okay to normalize the multi-talent. Real Dawkins, I love that. Let's normalize the multi-talent. Artists can do it all. We are adaptable. That's right. You can be in school. You can graduate school. You can matriculate. You could be in corporate. You could be an artist. You could be a DJ. You could be a photographer. It's 24 hours in a day. I was talking to a gentleman one time, and I thought that I had it all together, and I said to him, I said, "Man, life is short." He stopped me right then and there. He said, "Cedric, life is long. Think about it. Life is long. We don't have to do one thing in his life. We have to normalize moving around, doing multiple things. Be multi-talented, be multi-genius, be multi-passionate, right? Be multi-occupied, be great at several things. That's okay. I think that as our world globalizes, we have to become competitive with more than just America. We have to be multi. It's the new normal to be multi. So go right ahead on, man. Go right ahead on.
exactly. Because
What are
it's
your
just
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts after school? What do you intend to do?
yeah, I mean, I'm right on with you with the multi-talent because that's exactly what I plan to do out of school. Once I graduate with both of my degrees, I they say by the time you're 25, you be in jail or or dead, were African Americans. By the time I'm 25, 26, I will have both of my master's degrees in social work and in public administration. So by the time I do that, I plan to already have my art surrounding my project of the story of the struggling artist out for people to interact and be able to grow and be inspired by. I also plan to just start my podcast and just be able to just speak from the point of view of an artist. Right now, that's what I'm focused on, just being able to speak from the point of view of an artist, especially like when you see art. It's funny how, like you were saying, with the multi-talent, we can only be in one thing. There's no room for passion. But it's funny with art how we attach this very high value to it. With like we'll pay hundreds of dollars for a concert tickets, millions of dollars to hear pieces. I don't even know how much for a ticket in an opera place. But for all this different art, it's appreciated. But if somebody wants to pursue a career, there's the doubt. There's where it's kind of like,
Hold on. Let's expand this. Let's expand this, right? We are only, at least 3 or 4 generations out of a lot more oppression than we experience today,
yeah,
right? Clear across society. And so we are only, let's say, in the past 70 years learning how to manifest visions in life. And so what you're embarking on, which is manifesting your own vision, that's still a fairly new concept.
yeah,
That you want to do your own thing, right? And it's not a lawyer, doctor, dentist, right? The idea that you want to do your own thing is still a new concept. And so everybody doesn't specialize in faith. One thing that is for certain is that we have visions, and it's upon us to manifest those visions. But you're a pioneer today. What do you say to the other pioneers who are with you in this moment, who have a vision of what they want to do, but they can't find their occupation on the occupation list, right? And they're facing some adversity. What do you say to the people who are in the same boat as you tonight?
Well, I said this quote earlier, Cedric, and I'll say it again. This is the quote that I wrote for myself that motivated me and kept me pushing. Not everyone has the vision to see what you envision.
Hmm.
Sometimes, and that's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean you have to hate the world, because a heart full of hate is hard to replace. But that also means that sometimes you sitting there trying to explain it to another person, or you trying to draft everything to prepare for all of it, is not going to work. Sometimes, to be multi-talented and to enter that field that we're talking about today, you literally have to take that step. Not everybody's going to understand or fully support you. You have to, and I think the greatest power, not also which also comes from community, but also you have to have yourself. Because
That's
if
right.
you can't believe in yourself or support yourself, or you can't see your vision clearly, then who else can? Because if you need that support for somebody else to see your vision, then your vision becomes skewed. It becomes blurry. And then you sit in there trying to figure out what are you going to do? How am I going to make it? I mean, you still have those challenges, but when your vision becomes manipulated by other people who you think support you, then you find yourself somewhere where you're not even supposed to be, and you sitting there wondering how you got there.
That's right.
So you have
That's
to
right.
understand. You have to
That's right.
understand that not everybody's going to see it. Don't let that discourage you. You should let that encourage you. How do I make these people understand what I'm trying to do? How can I make them see what I want to see? And remember that actions speak louder than words. So sitting there explaining to somebody who doesn't see what you want, see what you see, doesn't is your I'm not gonna say it's a waste of time, but a
Mhm.
more effective use of your time will be putting in the action, making those movements, taking those risks. Where they'll be like, okay, that wasn't the best, but you know
Right.
what? See what he doing. All right, I
That's
see
right.
him. He building up, he getting there. He got a
That's
little
right.
work to do, but he getting there. You can't be afraid of criticism. You gotta be able to
Malik,
see that vision.
you mentioned to me that you were a poet. Would you like to do a piece for us tonight? The floor is
Yeah,
yours. Go ahead.
yeah, I would love to actually. Um, so I actually call this poem "Flap Your Wings." It's a poem that I wrote for myself. I would say it's inspirational. That I picked for myself to be able to take that risk, like I was talking about. And I think that's why it's important. So this is "Flap Your Wings." Don't be afraid to flap your wings when you jump off the edge. And who knows, maybe this time you'll fly. And I've known that you tried before, and never been this high before, but maybe, just maybe, you can fly. And maybe it's time. Time to stop hiding behind the layers. Time to peel that paint off because they don't really know what you're made of. And I know you don't know what's going on, and life just seems to be going on for way too long because you've been fighting these battles and going in circles, but the truth hasn't been unraveled. Don't let your fear of falling off let you stagnate. It will make you give up, never knowing how close you really are. Fear is the beginning when you start to lose sight of who you are. It is a collar around our necks that gets tighter and tighter to choke the life out of you and rob the moments that take your breath. As the tightness in your chest starts to intensify, as your thoughts try to determine if you're really meant to fly, the trembling in your hands prevents you from really letting go. Because remember, this is higher than before. But maybe it's time to let go and try. And who knows, maybe if you flap your wings, maybe this time you'll fly. Flap your
Wow. Snaps, snaps. Everybody put the emojis, blow up the chat, blow up the chat, blow up the chat. You said some powerful things in that poem, and I want to break some of it down. Talk to me about fear. How do you see that we can address fear in ourselves and fear in our communities?
Well, we can go back to just expectations, with expectations, that idea that we have to be, for before, like as an artist, I'll use art as an example. That's just where I'm coming from. So as an artist, we have this idea that we got to make the right song, or the piece got to be 100%, the piece got to flow together. It has to have the movement. It has to have all those aspects to make it perfect. So when we put it out, everybody loves it. And we're working so hard to make sure that it's perfect. And that's just perfection is just one of the tools of fear that fear is used to immobilize us because we're working so hard to make it perfect that nobody ever gets to see it.
That's right.
Or doubting yourself, trying to figure out if you're really good enough to do this, or being afraid to make a mistake. You never show anybody your work. You never show your flaws and what you need to work on to even get better, or to get that critique. Or maybe somebody you can collab with somebody that may be able to give you an idea that can make you better. Fear is what keeps us closed in to ourselves because we don't want anybody else to hurt us anymore. We don't want anybody to make fun of us or not understand us because we know what that feels like and we don't want that to happen again. But fear is literally, it is a collar around our necks. Like a dog. When you walk in the dog and it wants to go somewhere, you yank that leash and it comes right back. And it can't go and it knows not to go over there. So it won't go over there because it won't get yanked anymore. But without that collar, a dog can run free around the yard, do whatever it want to do, sniff the grass, go poop, whatever.
That's
But
right.
with fear, and that's just how fear, and I feel like fear works the exact same way.
I agree with you. Somebody out there is living in fear tonight. Somebody is living in fear, and I want to say that I'm thinking about you tonight. If you out there and you living in fear, I'm thinking about you. Whether it be fear of pursuing your passion, fear of what's going on in our communities, fear of what's happening outside your doors right now. And I want you to remember that unity can conquer fear. You gotta unite with your family, unite with your friends, make new acquaintances if you're not united with anybody. Give somebody a call, make a new connection, be connected because unity can conquer fear. Guess what? Where you fall short, somebody else stands tall.
Exactly.
And that's one of the gifts of us as people, you know?
And,
Um,
and I was just gonna say, and also, like I said, remember that God knows all the plans. He's the one that gives the expected end. So it don't matter what it looks like right now. That end is already determined. So whatever you want to do, whatever you are aiming for, it's already set in stone.
mm,
And it's normal to be afraid. That's a normal human feeling. But when you
that's
are
right.
passionate about something and you let that normal feeling inhibit your movements or inhibit your creative thoughts on how to enact your passion and live your passion, then you are letting fear become a collar around your neck.
That's right. Talk to me about some of the programs that you got involved in which really elevated your experience in life. What are some of the programs so that we can get an idea of what sorts of experiences get a young person or an adult, because you're a man, to the perspective of a Malik Robinson? What are some of the programs that really impacted you along the way?
So I would definitely say I would definitely say my youth, definitely during my all the time I spent in my church, all the organizations, having so many different people tell me so many different stories about how God and how their life was challenged, how God changed their life and how their life was challenged. But also in college, when I went to the NAACP, serving as the AXO chairperson, I was able to interact with many different people that were talented in different forms of art and helping them create their performance for the AXO talent show that we're working on and everything.
What
Also,
did you learn? What did you learn in the NAACP program?
in the NAACP program, I think that was something for me. That was definitely something for me to. It was very encouraging to see intelligent, successful brothers out in the community connecting with them, and they didn't have to put on a professional front. They didn't have to be anybody but themselves.
Mhm.
So working in the NAACP, that was the person that was me. That's what I saw. I think I always struggle with the professional world, wondering how much of myself I can be without having to feel like I have to, conform or lose part of myself to be successful in this job. So working with the NAACP, that was a piece that really stuck with me.
Okay. Any other programs?
The Delta Project, I actually work with the Delta Project with Cole Williams and Joe Van Kyken. They work with detentional youth. They work with youth in detention and focus on that help them tell their story and use narrative power to be able to tell their story.
What was that experience like? Working with young men, people who may have faced adversities or challenges in their life, and really needed a message or somebody to latch on to. What was that like? Give us 1 second. Yeah, everybody. So I think that we're having a great show tonight. Malik has a very American story. I can certainly relate to what he's talking about, what he's been through. The Delta Project has been featured on our show here, and you could just look at a few episodes back. They were here. Um, the time is upon us to get involved in the lives of our young men and our young women, and let's all join hands and move into the new era together. We are moving into a new era, everybody. Things are going virtual. As you can see, my show tonight is virtual. There's a new industry out there called cryptocurrency. There are investments that we need to at least learn how to begin to make. Think about investing. There are accounts that you can buy. There are wallets, digital wallets that you can buy to begin investing. Now is the time where a lot of wealth is being exchanged from one area of the population to the next. We've all got to get on board. We've got to find ways to invest so that we have more time to do our passions. We have more time to become, as we said, multi invest, y'all. There's a lot of good information out there about investing. It's something that I'm getting into. It's something that I'm encouraging my family to get involved in. And I encourage you to do it as well, because we're moving into a new paradigm. The church is key. Our programs are key. Starting new programs are key. Anybody out there in the chat that knows of a good organization that's working with young people, turning children into adults, drop it in the chat and I'll put it in the screen. But this is exactly what we have to do. We have to grow. We have to expand. We have to start new initiatives. We can't be the same. We can't be the same. We have to continue to grow. We have to challenge ourselves. More importantly, we got to speak out. Let's rock and roll. And Malik, we're back. So you were talking about the Delta Project, and I was asking you what it was like working with those young men who were potentially at risk or disadvantaged.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's
Computer was
okay. Go
recharging.
ahead.
Was plugged in.
It's
But
okay.
with the Delta Project, working with those kids, we focus on them telling their story. And what really inspired that for me, because my project is called The Story of the Struggling Artist. So with these kids, they focus on the power of narrative change to change society's issues by telling them stories to empower themselves and and work towards changing the perception of that population by telling them the stories of what's it's like to re-enter society after making a mistake, trying to get your life back on track, dealing with those different pressures of the family, getting back mixed in with the wrong crowd, all of that, and being able to give them complete control of telling their story. Because with your story is what makes you. Your story is what empowers you and what tells other people not just, oh, I came from this and now I'm here. No, your story is what molded and created you throughout your entire life to get you to where
That's
you are.
right. It's also what lets people know that you were here.
Exactly.
When you look at books that were written that are passed along through generations, when you look at artifacts, these are individuals who shared their stories. This is how we make history. This is literally how we make history, is by sharing our story, writing it
But
down.
I
Go
do
ahead.
want to say the problem with that is, I'm not saying, I want to say the problem with it now with telling our stories is that it's always a point, it's always presented, especially with social media and how now we have this instant gratification. Success has been painted as this point A, this is where I was struggling, I was down bad. And then I worked hard, etc., and I got to point B. Now I'm successful. I have this, my degrees, my business, etc. But between those points, nobody really talks about those points between A and B.
Right.
Nobody really, I mean, yeah, they may show like a struggle or a real piece of a struggle, but they always present their story as a come up story. It's
That's
not
right.
it's not I came from this and then I came up and got this. That's how it's presented. But they don't talk about how that bad piece turned their perspective to look at life differently and molded them into this. And then that's what gave them that idea to do that business. That's what I
Talk to
think.
me. Talk to me about the story of the struggling artist, real quick. What is
Yeah.
that exactly?
And that's exactly what the story of the struggling artist is. It's not a come up story. Because especially in hip hop, that's exactly, you can literally hear it in their lyrics. I was down bad, now I got a Mercedes Benz. I mean, that's not exactly what they say, but you get what I'm saying. But with the
Mhm.
story of the struggling artist, we I want to focus on that point, the letter between point A and point B. The letter between A and B. Nobody, you don't hear a lot of people talk about that in between space where they had to
Right.
turn to God and pray to get them out of that situation, or where they didn't know what to do and they had no one else to turn to and it was just them. Where
Mhm.
is that? Nobody talks about that experience of having that power being manifested to pick themselves up and push themselves to go further. Nobody really talks about that. So with the story of the struggling artist, I want to be able to paint an experience of an artist. It's loosely based off my life, but to paint the experience of an artist going on the journey to find his masterpiece. Not
Mhm.
him making the masterpiece, but what he had to do to take those steps to realize that one, he is an artist. What does his
Mhm.
art wants to say? What does it take to make a masterpiece? What do I want mine to look like and communicate?
So you
And
you you believe you believe that there is an artist inside everyone? Is that what you believe?
yes, I believe that there's an art inside everyone. And if anybody disagrees, anything around whenever you're solving a problem, that takes some kind of thinking. You have to creative thinking, some kind of thinking outside of the box. And art is a space and form where we are able to express ourselves in multiple different forms, in multiple different ways. And it takes a creative process to be able to do that.
Mhm.
Whether it's through writing, painting, and dancing, or whether it's whether it's working with chemicals, or developing a new business plan or a lesson curriculum to teach kids. There's
Okay.
always a creative process that goes through that, and it impacts
Okay.
and inspires others.
We are rounding third base of the show. I've had a great time talking to you tonight. I have a few questions that I'd like to ask you as we round third base, and this is going to go by fairly quickly. Are we going to get a book or a body of work from you, Malik Robinson?
Yes, that's actually what I'm working on now. The body of work right now will probably be multimedia. I'm working on podcasts and being able to tell the story of the struggling artist through music and poems.
Okay.
Poems is going to be kind of the baseline, and then I want to be able to highlight that through music and videos to really paint that experience of the struggling artist and what he went through, and then
Okay.
maybe build that to a book.
How can people contact you if they want to consult or if they want to bring you in to speak or to work with them? How can people contact you?
Well, definitely. I'm actually a little active on. Well, with school, I'm not really on social media, but they can, if they want to reach me, my Instagram is untitled_flow. My stage name is Untitled Flow, and then my Facebook, and then on Facebook as well.
Okay. What is survival to you?
Survival, through my experience, especially being alone, is being able to adapt to any situation that's thrown at you, and being able to have something that you can stand on. In my
What is
case, God.
what is success to you?
I think success is something that we all define for ourselves. It's what you really want. It's what you really want in life, and go to get it, and go get it. So
What
whatever
is
your goal is, that's
what
success.
is what is greatness to you? We got 10 seconds left in the show. What is greatness to you?
Having the resilience when you're chasing that goal, that dream, having the resilience and the faith to be able to stand up have the faith and the resilience to stand up against it and overpower it.
Absolutely. Malik Robinson, I want to let you know that I've really enjoyed listening to your story today. I love how you took the examples of your parents and the encouragement and really still did your own work, your own individual work, which is what's incumbent upon each and every one of God's children and the universe's children out there. We're giving you respect today, your absolute respect for the decisions that you've made. And we're giving you a crown today. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat. We are letting you know, letting the world know that you, Malik Robinson, you are America's next motivator. All right. Thanks for stopping by tonight. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. I really enjoyed today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talk to you later, man.
All righty.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you got to do, just like you did today, stop by, pick it up.